Okay, so listener, you brought us this fantasy novel. It's called The Last Demon Hunter, and you're kind of curious about it, but not sure if you want to like fully commit to reading the whole thing just yet.
I get it.
So we're going to dive in and give you just enough info to decide if it belongs in your tree list.
Okay.
All without spoiling the good parts, of course.
Sounds like a challenge, but I think we can handle it.
Yeah, definitely doable with this book, I think.
For sure. There are some really unique elements that I think will pique your interest.
Yeah, definitely. And the story starts in a setting that might surprise you.
Okay.
A high-tech research facility right here on Earth.
Hmm.
We're talking like the Quantum Gateway Institute, top secret science and all that.
Interesting.
But hold on, because things take a sharp turn when a mysterious event unleashes forces that are, well...
Not of this world.
Yeah, let's just say they're not of this world.
I like it already.
Right.
What I think is interesting is how the author sets up this clash between the familiar and the fantastical.
Yeah.
You've got this disabled ex-soldier, Dane Thorson, working security, pretty ordinary guy, extraordinary situation.
Right.
And suddenly he's thrust into a battle against creatures straight out of myth.
Talk about a rude awakening.
Definitely not in the job description.
No, not at all.
And the mystery deepens when you learn that the Institute was researching something called a quantum gateway.
Yeah, what were they trying to achieve?
Yeah, and what exactly have they unleashed?
Definitely some intriguing questions right off the bat.
Sure.
For sure.
Now, this is where it gets even more interesting.
Great.
Dane gets transported through this gateway to a magical world called Holger.
All right.
But here's the twist. Holger operates on a system of game mechanics.
Oh, okay.
Think stats, skills, levels, even a HUD like you see in video games, providing information about the world and his own abilities.
So imagine living in a world where you literally level up to survive.
Yeah.
It adds this whole new strategic dimension to the story.
I can see that.
For those who enjoy video games, it's like watching your favorite RPG character come to life.
Yeah.
But even if you're not a gamer, the concept is really intriguing.
Absolutely.
Because it impacts every aspect of the protagonist's journey.
Exactly, and this system becomes crucial when Dane lands smack dab in the Wastelands.
Oh, no.
A region teeming with fantastical creatures and dangerous landscapes.
Oh, wow.
It's like he's dropped into a high-level zone in a video game, but he's just starting out, totally out of his depth.
Talk about being thrown in the deep end.
Right.
Yeah, the book paints a vivid picture of these creatures.
It does.
The Mist Stalker, which can bend light to become practically invisible.
Right.
And the Shadow Fangs, with their, well, terrifying fangs that seem to drain the very light from the world.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, it really makes you feel the protagonist's vulnerability.
Yeah.
The constant threat of danger lurking around every corner.
Definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat.
What struck me was how the author uses this vulnerability to make the reader root for Dane. He's not some invincible superhero.
Oh.
He's a regular guy thrust into this extraordinary situation,
Right.
forced to rely on his wits and training just to survive.
Makes him relatable.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's not alone on this journey.
No.
He encounters some really intriguing characters along the way.
Okay, like who?
There's Roland,
Okay.
a seasoned ranger who becomes Dane's mentor,
Mhm.
teaching him how to survive in the Wastelands.
Okay.
But Roland has his own demons to fight,
Oh.
his own secrets that slowly unravel throughout the story.
Ooh, interesting.
And then there's Maya,
Okay.
a wise and enigmatic sorceress.
I like her already.
She leads this hidden outpost,
Hmm.
surrounded by veiled maidens who seem to exist outside the normal rules of Holger.
Well.
She's shrouded in mystery,
Okay.
and you get the sense that her knowledge runs far deeper than she initially lets on.
Very cool.
And we can't forget about Gareth,
Okay.
a master swordsman and former demon hunter with a pretty tragic past. He's the one who really pushes Dane to his limits. Okay.
Providing advanced combat training that is, let's just say, not for the faint of heart.
That's intense.
Each of these characters seems to hold a piece of the puzzle,
All right.
their own motives and allegiances that add a layer of complexity to the story.
I see.
You're never quite sure who to trust,
Right.
and that keeps you guessing.
Okay, but let's talk about the elephant, or rather, the sword in the room.
Oh,
Dane wields this unique weapon called Veriax.
okay.
And it's more than just a sharp piece of metal.
Interesting.
It seems to have a mind of its own, offering guidance and power, but also demanding something in return. It's almost like a symbiotic relationship. This bond between the sword and its wielder.
Yeah.
And it raises so many questions. Like, What is Veriax's true nature?
Right.
Where did it come from?
Good question.
And will Dane be able to master this power, or will it ultimately consume him?
Yeah, that's definitely something to ponder.
Definitely.
And of course, Dane has a powerful motivation driving him.
He's not just wandering through this magical world for fun.
Right.
He's searching for someone very important to him, Dr. Elena Clark, who was taken by the demons.
Oh, no.
The mystery surrounding Elena is one of the things that kept me hooked.
Really? What is it about her?
Well, for starters, we don't know much about her in the beginning.
Okay.
She's the shadowy figure, a driving force behind Dane's quest, but her true nature remains elusive.
I see.
The book drops hints, whispers of her importance,
Okay.
her connection to the demons, but never reveals too much too soon.
Okay.
It's like trying to piece together a puzzle with missing pieces.
Yeah.
And it leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, and it sounds like his quest takes him to some pretty extraordinary locations beyond the Wastelands.
It does.
We hear about the human kingdoms,
Okay.
the treacherous Darklands ruled by powerful demons,
Right.
and a particularly ominous place called the Black Tower,
Oh, wow.
the stronghold of the demon lord, Anthrax.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't.
It's clear that this first book is just the beginning of a much larger story.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
The world building is really impressive.
It is.
And you get the sense that there's a whole universe waiting to be explored.
So you've got a blend of action, fantasy, a dash of sci-fi with that whole quantum gateway thing.
Right.
And a strong emotional core driving the protagonist.
Absolutely.
And that world, built on game mechanics, has a really unique twist.
It does.
It's not just a surface-level gimmick.
No.
It's woven into the fabric of the world,
Yeah.
impacting everything from how characters fight to how they perceive themselves.
Exactly.
It definitely makes for a story that stands out from the crowd.
It does.
But there's one element that really caught my attention,
What's that?
and that's the relationship between Dane and Veriax.
Okay.
It's almost like a second character.
Yeah.
This sword, whispering in his ear, tempting him with power.
Makes you wonder, who's really in control?
Right.
Is Dane wielding the sword, or is the sword wielding him?
It's a question that lingers long after you finish the book.
For sure.
So, listener, are you ready to take a chance on The Last Demon Hunter?
The decision is yours.
Yeah.
But based on what we've seen so far, I have a feeling you won't be disappointed.
Okay.
This world is waiting to be explored, and I, for one, am eager to see where the journey leads next.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. You know, it's like Dane's journey through Holger is a reflection of his, internal struggles.
Okay.
He's not just battling monsters,
Right.
He's battling his own demons, both figuratively and literally. And
Yeah.
the Wastelands, with their unforgiving landscapes and terrifying creatures,
Yeah.
they're the perfect backdrop for this struggle.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
It's like the setting itself is a manifestation of his inner turmoil.
Exactly.
So how does this whole leveling up thing play into that?
Right.
Does it help him overcome these challenges?
That's where the game mechanics get really interesting.
Okay.
They're not just about gaining power. They're about growth, adaptation, and pushing beyond, perceived limits.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about him being a level 1 character in a high-level zone?
Yeah.
Well, as he faces these challenges, overcomes these obstacles. He literally levels up, gains new skills, becomes stronger.
Okay.
It's a tangible representation of his personal growth.
Okay, so it's not just a cool visual
Right.
or a way to keep score.
No.
It's actually tied to his internal journey.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how this all connects.
Exactly. It adds a layer of depth to the
Right.
story,
Yeah.
reflecting not just physical strength, but also mental and emotional resilience. For example, there's this scene where Dane and Roland are tracking a mist stalker.
Oh, yeah, that creepy creature that can blend into the shadows.
Right.
I remember feeling a chill when I read that part.
It's a tense scene,
Yeah.
and it highlights how the environment itself can be a threat in Holger.
Right.
But what's interesting is that the encounter isn't just about fighting a monster. It's about learning to see through deception, to trust your instincts, to rely on your companions.
Right.
And through this experience, Dane gains a new skill,
Okay.
a heightened awareness that allows him to sense the presence of the mist stalkers even when they're hidden.
So it's like the challenges he faces push him to develop new abilities, both physically and mentally.
Right.
That's a cool way to tie the game mechanics to his personal growth.
Right. And it makes those victories, those moments of leveling up, feel all the more earned.
Yeah.
You really get a sense of his progress, his transformation from a wounded soldier to a capable demon hunter.
And his relationship with Roland plays a big role in that transformation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Their dynamic is one of the highlights of the book.
Yeah.
It's not always smooth sailing.
Right.
They have disagreements, moments of tension, even secrets that threaten their bond.
Okay.
But there's a genuine respect and affection between them,
Mm.
a sense of camaraderie that makes their partnership feel real and compelling.
I remember that scene where Roland reveals his past, how he had lost his wife to the demons.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking, but it also showed the depth of his commitment to this fight.
It did.
The reason behind his gruff exterior and unwavering dedication to protecting others.
Yeah, that scene really resonated with me.
Yeah.
It added a layer of emotional depth to their relationship
Yeah.
and showed how shared trauma can forge a bond that goes beyond words.
Right.
And it also gives you a glimpse into the emotional stakes of this world.
Yeah.
The threat of the demons is not just some abstract concept.
Right.
It's a very real and personal danger that has touched the lives of those Dane cares about.
Which brings us back to Elena.
Yeah,
You mentioned that the mystery surrounding her was a big hook for you.
it was.
What is it about her character that makes her so intriguing?
Well, for starters, we don't know much about her in the beginning.
Okay.
She's this shadowy figure, a driving force behind Dane's quest.
Hmm.
But her true nature remains elusive. The book drops hints, whispers of her importance, her connection to the demons,
Okay.
but never reveals too much too soon.
Okay.
It's like trying to piece together a puzzle with missing pieces.
Yeah.
And it leaves you wanting more.
And that feeling of wanting more seems to be a theme with this book.
Yeah.
There are so many layers, so many unanswered questions that you can't help but feel drawn into the mystery.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so compelling.
Yeah.
The author masterfully balances action, mystery, and emotional depth, keeping you engaged on multiple levels.
Yeah.
You're invested in Dane's personal journey,
Yeah.
intrigued by the mysteries surrounding Elena and Veriax,
Right.
and eager to see how it all unfolds.
So it sounds like this book is a wild ride.
It is.
What about the destination? Where does all this lead?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the Wastelands, the Human Kingdoms, the Darklands, the
Yeah.
Black Tower.
Yeah.
It's like a whole world waiting to be explored.
That's what I love about this book. It
Yeah.
feels like just the tip of the iceberg. The ending, without giving anything away, leaves you with this sense of anticipation, a desire to see what happens next.
Right.
It's not a neat and tidy resolution.
Oh,
It's an open door to a whole world of possibilities,
I see.
a promise of more adventures to come.
So for our listener who's on the fence about diving into this world,
Yeah.
what would you say to convince them to give it a shot?
I'd say if you're looking for a story that blends action, fantasy, and a touch of sci-fi with a unique twist, The Last Demon Hunter is definitely worth checking out.
Okay.
It's a book that pulls you in with its compelling characters,
Yeah.
its intricate world building, and a mystery that keeps you guessing until the very end.
Right.
And trust me, that ending will leave you wanting more.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
exploring the characters, the setting, and the unique elements that make this book so compelling.
Definitely.
But there's another layer we haven't touched on yet.
Oh,
The deeper themes that run beneath the surface of the story. That's what we'll delve in next time.
okay.
Exploring the questions the book raises about choice, consequence, identity, and the nature of power.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned, listener, because our deep dive into The Last Demon Hunter isn't over yet.
No.
We've got more to uncover, more to explore, and more to discuss.
For sure.
See you in part 3. We've talked about the characters and the world and the game mechanics,
Yeah.
but now I'm kind of curious about the deeper stuff.
Okay.
The things that make you think, even after you finish the book.
Right?
What are some of the underlying themes that resonated with you?
Well, one of the most prominent themes is choice and consequence,
Right.
which is like amplified by the game-like world. You know,
Yeah.
Dane is constantly making decisions, big and small,
Yeah.
and those decisions have a real impact, not just on his own fate, but on the lives of those around him.
Yeah, I remember thinking that the game mechanics actually made the stakes feel even higher.
Right.
Like in a traditional fantasy novel, you kind of know the hero is going to make the right choice.
Yeah.
But here, with the HUD and the stats and everything,
Yeah.
it felt like there were real risks involved. Like Dane could actually lose something tangible with every wrong move.
Exactly. It's not just about abstract morality. It's about tangible consequences that play out in the game world.
Right.
And that ties into another interesting theme, the relationship between power and responsibility.
Okay.
Dane is given this incredible power through Veriax, but he's also burdened with the responsibility of wielding it wisely.
And it's not always clear what the wise choice is, right?
Right.
Like there's that scene where he has to decide whether to use Veriax's full power against a group of demons,
Yeah.
knowing that it could have devastating consequences for the surrounding area.
Yeah.
It's a classic dilemma. Do the ends justify the means?
That scene really stuck with me because it forces you to confront those tough questions.
Yeah.
There's no easy answer.
Right.
And Dane has to grapple with the weight of his choices, knowing that there will be sacrifices either way.
Yeah.
It's a theme that resonates with our own lives, too. Right.
We all have to make choices that impact others.
Yeah.
And sometimes those choices come with difficult consequences.
And it's not just the big, like life or death choices that matter.
Right.
It's the smaller ones, too.
Right.
The choices we make every day shape who we are.
Absolutely.
For better or for worse.
For sure.
Dane could have easily given into despair.
Yeah.
Surrendered to the darkness of the Wastelands.
Right.
But he chooses to fight, to hope, to believe that he can make a difference.
And that's what makes him such a compelling protagonist.
Yeah.
He's not some perfect hero.
Right.
He's flawed, vulnerable,
Yeah.
but ultimately driven by a desire to do good,
Right.
even when it's hard.
Right.
And that ties into another major theme,
Okay.
the protagonist's journey of self-discovery and transformation.
Right. He starts out as this broken soldier, haunted by his past, unsure of his place in the world.
Yeah,
But through his experiences in Holger, he starts to piece himself back together,
it does.
find a new purpose, a new identity. And the game mechanics play a really interesting role in that transformation.
Yeah, how so?
As he gains levels, acquires new skills, you literally see him becoming stronger, more confident.
Okay.
It's like a visual representation of his internal growth, his evolution from soldier to demon hunter.
Right.
But it's not just about power.
Right.
It's about self-acceptance,
Okay.
about embracing who he is and what he's capable of.
And that transformation isn't complete by the end of the book, right?
No, not really.
There's a sense that his journey is just beginning,
Right.
that he still have a lot to learn, a lot to discover about himself and about the world.
Exactly. The ending is very open-ended,
Yeah.
leaving you with a lot of questions, but also a sense of excitement, a desire to see where Dane's path leads him next.
I like that.
And that brings me to another aspect of the book I really enjoyed,
What's that?
the author's writing style.
Yeah, the writing is definitely engaging.
It is.
I remember getting completely sucked into the world, feeling like I was right there alongside Dane, experiencing the sights and sounds
That's
and
right.
the smells of Holger.
The author has this ability to create vivid, immersive scenes that really draw you in.
Yeah,
The descriptions are detailed without being overwhelming,
right.
and the pacing is fast-paced but never rushed.
I see.
It's like watching a movie in your head,
Yeah.
with every scene unfolding before you in vibrant detail.
Yeah, I get that.
And the way the author blends different genres,
Yeah.
fantasy, science fiction, a touch of horror, it's seamless
Yeah.
and really adds to the overall atmosphere of the book.
And those game mechanics,
Right.
they're not just a gimmick, are they?
No, not at all.
They actually add to the storytelling,
They do.
influencing the way the characters interact with the world and with each other.
I was initially skeptical about that element, but the author really makes it work.
Yeah.
It's woven into the fabric of the story so organically that it becomes a natural part of the world.
Right.
And it actually enhances the emotional impact of certain scenes.
Yeah, give me an example.
For example, when Dana loses a level after a particularly difficult battle, you feel the weight of that loss, the sense of setback and vulnerability.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's like the game mechanics provide a tangible representation of his emotional state,
Right.
his struggles and triumphs.
Exactly.
So, to wrap things up, would you say The Last Demon Hunter is just a fun, action-packed fantasy novel? Or is there more to it than that?
It definitely has all the elements of a great fantasy adventure.
Cool.
Action, intrigue, compelling characters, a vividly realized world.
Yeah.
But what sets it apart is the depth of its themes.
Okay.
The way it explores complex questions about choice, responsibility, identity, and the nature of power.
I see.
It's a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it,
Yeah.
prompting you to reflect on your own choices, your own journey, and the challenges we all face in a world where the line between good and evil is often blurred.
So, listener, if you're looking for a book that will entertain you, challenge you, and leave you wanting more, I think we found it.
I think so, too.
The Last Demon Hunter is a journey worth taking.
It is.
And I have a feeling it's just the beginning of a much larger adventure.
As we've discovered in this deep dive,
Yeah.
there's always more to uncover, more to explore beneath the surface of a great story.
Right.
So keep an open mind, embrace the unexpected,
Yeah.
and enjoy the ride.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into The Last Demon Hunter.
My pleasure.
Until next time, happy reading.